In a world that constantly asks us to blend in, today's guest is here to help us to stand out. So, welcome back to Harmony Hustle. We are excited to engage in this discussion on a topic that is near and dear to all of our hearts, mindset. But before we get into it, I would like for us to take a moment to introduce Roselee Mathu to the rest of our community. Now, I've known Rosalie for, goodness, a few years now.
Mhm.
And I have to say, Rosalie, there has been something that has been consistent amongst the rooms that we both have been in that
Mhm.
just echoes mindset for you, along with some other ones, but that one,
Mhm.
I said, Cheryl, I think she's going to be the perfect guest for us to kind of dig in deeper and to learn from your perspective as you are industry leader in the microlocs community as well as a business coach. You have been really infused in our natural hair community as well as being a leader, top leader in the microlocs community as well. And so if you can just kind of take a moment to introduce yourself to the community, you don't have to go too deep because we have some questions that's going to allow us to go a bit deeper.
Okay, awesome. Hello, everybody. I am excited to be on the Harmony Hustle podcast. I love the combination of the harmony and the hustle. I'm Roselee Mathu, and I am the owner of Roselee's Natural Hair Care Company, and I'm the creator of the Signature Loc Method. And I love and enjoy and spend a lot of time mentoring and coaching, especially natural hairstylists, people who specialize in microlocs, how to build a peaceful business. So part of that is how you think about the business that you're building. And I do that with just listening to what people say they want and seeing the actions that they're taking and try to bridge the gap so that they can get to where they want to get.
I love it. So if we were to take it a little bit all the way back, because people don't all know who you are. So I know that you have been in the industry since maybe around 2008. Uh,
Yes.
how did your journey in this industry start?
Well, I started my work. I'm from Zimbabwe, so my parents are African, and at the time they just believed that you either going to be a doctor, you're going to be a lawyer, you're going to be an engineer. Those are your three options. And so for as long as I can remember, everybody was like, "Oh, she's going to be a doctor. She's going to be a doctor." And my grandma, she didn't speak English, but because this programming of being you're smart, you should be a doctor. She would get medications from her actual doctor, and then she would come and ask me if it was the right one that was prescribed, and I would be like, "Yeah, sure." So that thing of becoming a doctor was like my whole life until college. I went to college to become a doctor, and then 2 years into the process, my mom had twins, and they were premature, and we spent a lot of time in the hospital. And I realized that I can't do it. And then the drama was to let them know that I can't do it. So we we jumped over that hurdle, but my degree was half chemistry, half biology, and so I worked in chemical labs, a lot of food manufacturing, industrial manufacturing, like degreasers, lubricants kind of labs. So it was just lab work. And one of those, the last company I worked for, they promised a promotion, and when time came for the promotion, apparently the position didn't exist while I was doing the work.
Hmm.
So uh, I
How
remember,
can
yeah, I remember not wanting to be like a angry black woman because I had written a letter that I was actually going to give to the CEO, just about how they were conducting themselves, and I felt like they were dangling a carrot in front of me. And also, I had made myself a promise because I was job hopping. My Anytime the job ticked me off, I was leaving, and so we during that job hopping season, I was getting married and I was switching jobs, and my husband was helping me with my resume, and he was like, "You look like you're schizophrenic. Can you like stay somewhere?" So that last job, I had to stay until I found the real next thing that I was going to do, which was not work for anybody else. And so 2008 was when the opportunity to take the Sister Locks class came about, because I had my locks at the time, and the lady who was doing my hair was a trainer, and she told me the class was coming up. And at first I was like, nobody's trying to do hair, right? But there were other locticians working in the space, and one of them had just quit her job. So when she showed me the numbers, then it was like, oh, okay. So I went to class to quit my job. Like I had that plan already in place when I went to class.
Mm. Brave, right?
Right.
Love it. Just first word that just popped out, brave. I love it.
Yeah.
So, many people I find focus on the hustle first and then the mindset later, right? What I would say for you, when you first started to focus on making this shift, did you have the mindset in mind? Like, were you focused on the mindset or were you focused on the hustle first?
I want to say I was focused on the mindset, and I want to attribute it to my parents, because, oh, especially my dad, because I was thinking about this earlier about privilege, right? You know that there's like white privilege, and I feel like I grew up in black privilege, because in a country where everybody's black, there are no limits, right? The president's black, my teachers are black, the doctor's black, there's everybody's black, right? So there's no day I woke up and thought about being black. I just woke up and did stuff, right? And when I came to the States was when I found out I was black, because that was all people talked about. And so I already had a mindset that I can do anything, right? There's nothing I can't do. And my parents reinforced the fact that there's nothing you can't do. In fact, you could do it twice as well, right? So I'm always, if there's the best thing, like if you give me levels, what's the top level? That's what I'm trying to get, right? So that's always been my mindset. So I was the valedictorian in my high school. I was always, what is that level? Because if you're going to do it, you got to do it at that level.
Hmm,
So when I was quitting
interesting.
the job, it was this is not me. At a point where you're dangling something in front of me, you're saying I have a limit, and I know I don't have a limit, so I got to leave. And that was my work experience. There were just like limits that were being imposed, and I knew that I don't have limits, so I gotta go find where, like, what is that thing that's gonna take the ceiling off.
Mm, I love hearing that. Just it's not something that everyone gets to experience, where your environment allows you to just be and just be top tier. You're always being told so many other things, but to have that sort of foundation is a lovely place to be,
Yeah,
which I'm sure obviously has shaped a lot of what you do, who you are right now. That is absolutely fantastic.
yeah.
Yeah. What was the so mindset was kind of at the forefront. So when you began your entrepreneurial journey, what would you say your mindset was? Was it about we were talking this month about scarcity versus abundance and things like
Oh,
that.
yes.
So what
Okay.
was the mindset that you had going into entrepreneurship that could be useful for any person going in that path?
Mm.
Yeah.
So let's be clear. I had no idea what I was stepping into. I just knew it wasn't this, right?
Mm,
And I heard someone say sometimes you don't know where you're going, but you know it's not this. So you just got to take a step, some kind of step, but not this, right? That's all you know. So I felt like I was in that space that I didn't really know. I didn't go to business school. I didn't know what I was jumping into. I just knew that I could take this class, I could do people's hair, and I could replace my income. That's as far as I thought. But the my mindset was, if that's possible for this lady, then it's definitely possible for me. And I hadn't seen people talking about that exit until I met that lady, right?
Mhm.
Um, I didn't hear people have some math about being a person who does it, because that's what we're thinking. Someone does hair, and it's just like one of those things that you do, right? And if it gets too whatever, you can always drop it and go get a real job, right? But I hadn't seen someone, because when I did the math, it wasn't going to take me a lot of clients to replace what I was making, which also ticked me off. Like, this is not just not the level I want to be at, right?
Mhm.
There are other levels to get to, and how am I going to get there? Because I thought I was going to get there by climbing this ladder in this workplace, but that's not an option. So, what else is that thing? So when she showed me that, the possibilities were just like, that's the mindset was, I'm about these possibilities. Just let me go. I don't know what's there. I haven't done any research. I don't know anything about anybody's business. I just know I'm going to learn this thing and do these people's hair and get out of this job. That's all.
Mm.
Which is a good place to be sometimes, not knowing as much as you think you need to know. Sometimes that's the great place to operate from because you're
Yeah, because
thinking
I
you're
think,
firing on all cylinders and
right. And we overthink things, right? Because
Mm.
sometimes you stay in a situation, because my husband has the patience of Job, right? Because when I'm done and I've decided that I need to go do a thing, sometimes I'm impulsive about it, right? I'm done, right? So he's okay, let's plan it, right? So luckily he was the voice of reason, like, okay, it needs a certain structure. You can't just like drop it today. Like, what does it need to look like? So I learned to fall in love with spreadsheets, because that's what he does all the time. To map out, to plan. And that's a mindset thing, right? You got to learn how to see your goal and then plan towards it, because stuff doesn't just happen. You do one thing today, and then tomorrow you get the result. So um, I think the ability to take a breath and say, okay, I'm done with this situation, but I can't just like throw it out the window. How can I make my transition right, and make it a transition and not like a fall off a cliff?
mm,
Mm. That's
yeah.
we all need one of like everyone needs like a husband like yours.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially individuals with personalities like ours.
Yeah, because
Definitely, it's helpful.
I literally had a dream one day, that I don't know. In this dream, I was with on the beach, and I saw something in the distance, and I got so excited, and I dove into the thing, and I'm I'm going, and then midway, I was like, like I forgot something, and then he was on the shore with a like a that rope with the circle in it. What's that called? I don't know,
A lifesaver? Is it a
whatever.
life?
But
Oh,
he threw that towards me, and then I came back to shore, and I was like, "Huh, okay, yeah,
so Rosalie, I'm just thinking about your environment early on. It was such that, you had high standards, like you felt as though you could do anything, you can achieve everything. With you working with clients, other, hairstylists, other individuals in business, do
hmm
you notice a difference with the mindset? Do you have to spend a lot of time helping to reshape that? What does that look like for you, for individuals who don't have, let's say, an environment growing up that looked like yours?
right." I have actually had to learn a lot of compassion towards people because of that, right? Because some things are like black and white to me, but if you didn't grow up in an environment where people were affirming you and letting you know that, uh, Cheryl, you asked earlier about abundance, right?
Mm,
That there's always more, and it depends on your spiritual beliefs too, right? But there's always more. There's always an option. You are never backed into a corner where you don't have options. Even some of those options that you don't like, it's an option, right? So that mindset of even just getting to know yourself, like who are you? And I arrive at that place with asking them what do they want, right? Because if you say what you want, like even to allow yourself to want what you want deep down, right? Because people don't allow themselves to want what they want. So if I say, if all the restrictions were off, right? And you could have anything, you could do anything, you could be anything, what would you do? Whatever that thing they say, when I backtrack, like, why aren't you doing it? Then that's where all the limiting beliefs come in. And then when you dig deeper, it's about lies,
Mm.
literal lies that you've chosen to believe. And it's a choice, right? I'm still having a hard time telling my daughter that these are like when she's having a thought process, there are choices. You can always think something else because you have control over that. And knowing that you have control over what you think and your circumstances don't dictate who you are, what you can do, where you can go, right? That it takes a while, but I've had to learn a lot of compassion for people because of the things that have been, pushed on them, programming that's happened, situational, political, all the things, right? That people are going through. But once they get a glimmer of, wow, that's because if you just know that things are possible and you allow yourself to daydream in that direction, your something stirs inside there and it's like, what if I did do that? What if I just take this small step towards that? What if when I tell myself I suck, I just, no, I don't. I'm
Right.
amazing, right?
Mm, mm,
That's
That
an
is,
option.
mm.
yeah, that is so powerful, Rosalie. So, and I know that you also work with entrepreneurs, and so I can't imagine that a lot of that, your perspective is brought into the framework that you have, 3C framework.
Mhm.
So, can you tell us a little bit more about that? Because I'm sure there's some component of that mindset approach in that framework.
I mean, it really, the first, so the three C's are uh, congruence, capacity, compassion, right?
Mm.
And congruence, uh, that this is how much of a nerd I am. We would help. I was helping my daughter with geometry homework, and so they would talk about triangles, and there's a triangle that has two equal sides. And they're congruent. The terminology is that they're congruent, and so I was trying to reinforce the point, and I was like, okay, so the sides are equal. Does congruent mean equal? And when I said it, it was like some gears engaged in my brain, like, so this thing applies not just to this math, it applies to you as a person. And the journey of becoming a congruent individual for me really started in like 2023 because I met my birth mom for the first time.
Oh.
And prior to that, I felt like two people because my environment dictated that I behave a certain way, but on the inside, I felt different. So when I started my business, it was the place that allowed me to be congruent. But then when I was going home, I had to pack it back up and be something else. So when I met this lady, and then I saw the stuff that I pack up, just like out here, I said, "Oh, this is who I'm supposed to be." But then you come back and you're like, "Okay, so where do I put all this?" Right? I had to go to therapy for that whole thing, but it allowed me to become one person
Right.
and just allow people to feel how they feel. If it's uncomfortable, really that's none of my business because this I gotta right.
Hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So now that I know what that journey is like, I can see when someone is going through it, right? And I can ask some questions I can't tell you how they come up. I just like in the moment, I can ask some questions that lead us to the place where we're trying to be. And it's so rewarding to see someone come from like, their shoulders are all like, they feel like the world is just crazy. And then by the time we're finished, their shoulders are back and they're like, yes, right? So congruence has to do with you knowing yourself, and you know yourself as who you are, what do you want, what can you handle, what can you not tolerate. And when you know yourself in that way, you can communicate that to other people kindly, because you're not trying to hurt people. You're just letting them know that this is who I am. I do this, I don't do this. If I change my mind, that's my prerogative, right? I can just be. And I feel like the things that we're doing with the hair, it's like a gateway conversation into just being, because we use our hair to, manipulate how we enter, how we present in an environment. So if you want to look a certain way, you do it your hair a certain way for a particular environment. And the freedom to not have to do that is congruence.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Mm.
Capacity is what can you handle. Like, so if you know yourself well enough, certain environments I can't go, certain people I can't talk to, certain things I can't do, right? And there are some things I can do all day, and some things I can only do so much, right? You know yourself so well that you kind of curate your life in such a way that everywhere you go is like just like magic, because I'm where I'm supposed to be at all times, right?
Mm.
And then compassion is what I talked about earlier, that the kindness of explaining, you're not explaining, you're communicating to people who you are, but you're just being, right? And if something rubs someone the wrong way, you're able to be like, hey, what's that? Or what's going on? Or how can I help? Or you're brave enough to approach the conversation and make space for the person to also be, right?
Mhm.
I love it. I feel as though your motto, like one, is powerful, and I feel as though this is so valuable that can be applied to any industry,
Anything,
right? Not just
anything.
anything. And
Yeah.
so for me, as I kind of digest all of that, it also puts everything into perspective and shows you how important it is for us to self reflect, to go inwards, work on the interior so that the exterior falls in alignment, right? So
Exactly.
I think this is so powerful.
Mm.
And one of my questions that I do have when we're thinking about this framework, are you currently working with individuals outside of the beauty industry?
I have started to. I've been really fortunate to, I don't know what day it was. It was recent that I realized, oh, I can I can talk to anybody.
Yeah. Oh my God. You
But I've
really?
been, yeah, just because I've literally been using it in my own, like in my own life. It's as small as like we were arranging like breakfast with a friend, and we're busy, right? So she's like, oh, maybe I can move some things. No, we don't have to do that, because that I can already feel the energy that you're doing that with, and we don't want that. So if we only have this much time and we can make that work, let's make that work. And then while we're together, let's plan for when do we have more time, because we don't want we don't want any strain in any relationship. It doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is, right? And
Yeah.
everybody should feel free to express themselves so that they can be free, right? If then anything is hindering you, you should feel free to say, this is not working for me. And the other person should be mature enough to be, oh, I didn't realize that wasn't working for you. Let's talk about it, right? There's a lot of offense, especially lately, man. Everybody's offended by just things that you have no control over, right? So it's to just allow yourself to live the life you want. However you want to feel, do that. Whatever it is you want to say at that time, okay, Emotional intelligence, social cues, yes, but also feel free, right? Someone will let you know this that's not appropriate, and then you don't get offended that that wasn't appropriate. You just, oh, okay, no worries, let's move on, right?
Mm.
I
Yes.
don't know. That's how I think.
I love it.
It's
I
yeah.
love
Yeah. So these days, I'm allowing myself to be seen differently.
You've already expressed like what it was for you in terms of mindset and approach, but was there one specific area of mindset that unlocked new levels for you in business? So when you first started out, you had a particular mindset, but was there a shift that happened um, in one area, whether it was in money, whether it was in just
Mm,
whatever it happens to be, that allowed you to elevate to the next level in your business?
mm. We probably need a word for it, but one thing that I learned early was abundance,
Okay.
right? The abundance of clients, and then by extension, abundance of any other thing. But that lesson came through abundance of clients because in the salon environment, if you're several stylists, people tend to be possessive over the people they serve. So if that person who's being served is looking across and seeing the work that she admires and she wants to be in that chair, there's a possessiveness with the stylist that this is my client, and the client's feeling restricted when they could get something that they actually want from somewhere else, right?
Mm.
So that I learned that lesson when I was working with the lady who put my locks in, and I worked in her salon. And then I learned that lesson when I started mentoring, and my first mentee branched out and she took the clients with her, right? And that experience was what taught me abundance because she left, she was booked, I was booked. Why was I upset?
Mm.
it. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
again, it took my husband to be like, so what's the real problem here? Right?
Mm.
Don't aren't your books full? Her books are full. Isn't that what you and that she also said, isn't that what you were teaching me to do? Why
Mm.
am I upset?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Right? And
Mm-hmm.
we discovered that I was upset because she didn't include me in her process. I
Mm.
wanted to be a part of the process of you're going somewhere else. But at the end of the day, apparently God said that wasn't for you to do. And
Mm-hmm.
this was a lesson I needed to learn because I was going to have more and more people do that, which taught me how to keep your revenue
Yeah.
steady as things are changing, which allows you to be creative in the type of things that you do in your business. So, did I answer that question?
Yeah, you did.
Yes.
More than answer, yes.
Yes, and I love how you brought in your personal experience from that. And not for nothing, that particular experience, I feel as though is so relatable. I feel like so many people have been there. And then to
Yeah.
just kind of dissect it and look at it from a different perspective, it gives you a different way of just digesting it. It's like, you're right. Yeah. Why would I be mad? What's for
Hmm.
you is for you.
Right.
Have to
And
release to allow what is meant for you to come in with ease.
exactly, right?
Mm,
Because that's the reframe is everything is working for you. Doesn't matter
mm,
what it looks like. There's something in there for you, right? It might hurt. There's something in it for you though. And
absolutely.
if you choose to, step back and see what might be here for me, you're going to see that everything, if you just look back over your life up to the point that you are, everything has been working for your good.
Yeah.
Mm,
Like Omni mentioned, the self reflection element of it too, but the just like the presence, like being present
Yeah.
enough to tap into your emotions, your thoughts, all of that is it's just key to be able
Yeah.
to do just that and be like, okay, I've menteed someone, I've taught someone, and I've given them the tools to do what they need to do, but I'm okay. And that's
I'm
not
okay.
an easy thing to do if you're not present enough to let it
Yeah.
to incorporate it into your thinking and your world.
Yeah, and I believe that presence comes from taking the time to find out what do I want, what do I don't want,
Mm,
right?
Mm.
To become one person whose thoughts and feelings align with the action that you take. You're always moving in the direction of what I want and where I'm trying to go. Um, and you can tell when you're not in alignment because you feel that conflict. Like,
mm,
hey, you want to go to McDonald's, and your spirit said no, but you're like, well, your body
yes.
Mm.
out of alignment right there, right?
Hmm.
No is okay in that instant if you're feeling like no, right? And if you're not enthusiastically yes, then it's no.
Mm,
Just thinking about that, imagine being so present, so in tuned to know when it's a yes, when it's a no, and really being authentic in your feelings and sharing that,
Yeah.
how you will be just operating in a state of peace. You actually mentioned that earlier, right? About your practice, what it is that you're doing. You're showing individuals how to do it in peace, to
In
have peace. And I'm like, just again, just listening to this, and you and I, we've talked about your framework, your three C's, but to hear it again, it's like, man, like I could see myself reviewing this at the end of the night. Okay, how did I do? So that the next day I can do a little better and
yeah,
better until it becomes more of a habit and I become more and more in tune with that, because it's like we are our guides, right? We know what that feels like, but to just be able to self-reflect and kind of assess at the end of the evening, I can see that could be really, really valuable. Do you do that at all? Do
I
you ever
do.
kind of okay,
I
okay.
do. I feel like it's like an ongoing thing because I'm so present to people's body language. I
Mm,
I catch it right then, right?
mm,
So sometimes the when I'm working with students, right, and the client was not was not honest with her feelings that she really doesn't want students, right? So when we're trying to work with her, she's all like this, right? I immediately I'm like, hey, I didn't even need to ask her, are you okay? I just like, hey, can you go work on your mannequin so that she can relax, right? With my children, it's been so helpful with my children. Because I didn't grow up with parents chit-chatting with you about how you felt. In fact, if you were tired, it was like, why? What did you do all day? You're a kid, right? So it's gotten to a place where I can see the body language, even if like I have a teenager, even if she doesn't want to say what's going on, I can tell something is going on, and so I maneuver differently just to make it a little safer for her to be like, you know what, this is what I'm going through, and it usually takes like it might take a couple of days, but I know how to adjust to make that possible because I wasn't that person before.
As you look forward to, let's say, the next 5 years, what is the biggest mindset shift that you believe the industry will need to help them through this changing economy?
What I want is okay. I feel like if you decide that what you want is okay, there's a lot of creativity around that because your brain, right? They said your brain doesn't know what's real and what's not. So whatever you tell it is what it's going to work towards. Because while you're sleeping, stuff is happening towards whatever you've been saying all day. So if you tell yourself what I want is okay, then it's okay to ask yourself, what do I want? And just, it doesn't hurt to like, wouldn't it be nice? We used to talk about if I won the lottery. You know how when the lottery is like a ridiculous amount of money,
Mhm, yep.
money, I would do so and so and do so and so and do so and so, right?
Mm,
Even allowing yourself that without the the other back talk, like, well, it wouldn't probably happen. We're not there. We're in the clouds right now. We don't care whether it can happen or not. We could just allow ourselves to want it. And then it changes how you feel,
Mhm.
right? And then you'll step outside and see a different perspective. Whatever, even whatever thing you were going through at the time, you just have a different perspective towards it. Maybe your nervous system is a little calmer as a result. And you'll be like, you know what, that thing wasn't such a big deal after all, right? It What you want is okay.
Our audience are entrepreneurs. Some of them are aspiring, some are maybe in the first year. So, if you could leave them with one word of advice or word of wisdom, what would it be to help them make that shift?
Mm. So we're back to what you want is okay, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
if you're in a situation where you feel like I need to make a change, what you want is okay. All you need to do from that place when you have allowed yourself to want it is do the research. That's one thing I didn't do when I started out, was try to see further than doing people's hair. Like, how do you handle your money? Because I would do the people's hair, had this cute apron. I would do the people's hair. They would pay me in cash. I put in my apron. And then the people will come with the cake and the fruit and the handbags. And I take that same money and I was giving it out. So when I get home, I'm like, what just happened here? Right? Um, just research the thing that you're wanting, research it to the place where you understand what are the steps to get you. And you're not building a business to look like you're building a business. You're building a business to support your lifestyle. So really it's about, what is the lifestyle that you want, and then is this the vehicle that's going to take you there? And that's the research you're doing. What do I need to do in this vehicle to get me where I need to get to? Because if it's not the right vehicle, you're going to feel it as well, because then you'll be struggling when you're supposed to be coasting.
Mm.
Not coasting, but because entrepreneurs,
Coasting.
right? Coasting as in, like, when you lay down and it was a hard day, you still want to do it again tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I mean,
Mhm.
right? You still want to do it again tomorrow. Because I feel like you want to be in a space where, even if it's hard, you're like, I would rather do this than whatever else.
For that aspiring entrepreneur, how can they find you, work with you, maybe get into your chair if they're looking for some
Oh no, you can't
locks?
get it there.
She's like, no, no, no.
She's like, mm-mm, it doesn't feel right. I love it.
Capacity, right?
Capacity,
Capacity.
yes.
She's like, not happening.
My clients already looking at me side-eyed with just it's all good. But in the entrepreneurial aspects, for sure. So you can reach me, roseleemathu.com. There's a space for you to book a 30-minute strategy session. And my Instagram is the Signature Loc Method. I'm mostly talking about the lock business, but some of those things apply. And as I'm finding that I'm dealing with more people who are not necessarily locticians, I'm going to make space to talk about generalities that affect entrepreneurs as opposed to just locticians.
Well,
That's it.
thank you so much. Thank you so much for taking the time out to just pour into our community. We really enjoy the conversation, and there were a lot of bars that were dropped, a lot of things that we can kind of like work on. So I thank you so much. And Cheryl, I'm sure she feels the same way. But I won't speak for you, Cheryl. Go ahead. Go ahead,
No,
girl.
I'm happy to have met you. It's been lovely talking to you for sure. And
Yeah.
thank you for your time and sharing your knowledge, perspectives with us and the community and the world when they see this.
Awesome. I'm so happy for this podcast. I did a little binge watching and I was like, oh, wow. So I'm going to be tuning in every time now.
Oh,
But
thank you.
I appreciate spaces like this, because people don't talk about the journey enough, or the details of the journey enough.
Mm.
Um, and we don't want to gloss over the real work that you have to do to get to where you want to get to, but you definitely want to know that it's worth it.
Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you so much.
Awesome. It was my pleasure.